Welcome to the F1 Time Portal, a Formula One history podcast started by two Formula One nerds. I'm your host, Rosa.
And I'm your I Will Survive host, Luigi. And today we're taking you back to the 1979 season, part 5. So let's go.
Oh, I know. I Will Survive. Is that... I'm going to say a name, but I don't want listeners to judge me. Is that someone Gaynor? Gloria Gaynor?
Yeah, it is. Well done. You definitely knew that?
Why? I did definitely. You know why? I think I knew
Yeah.
that from... Is it Priscilla, Queen of the Desert? Is that song in there?
I can't remember. I think so.
I reckon it is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Interesting. I mean, I chose that song because of this first race we're about to do. Something that happens in this upcoming race that survives the history of time. And
well, that's very deep. That's very deep, Luigi.
It's abstract rather than deep. Yeah, so we'll come to that. But the other thing I was going to say is the song "I Will Survive" was obviously done by Gloria Gaynor, but in the 90s there was a band called Cake that did a re-release.
They did a re-release. They did too.
And they did it in their style, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but they also did another song called "Going the Distance."
Yes, I love that song.
And that song is also why I picked it, because "Going the Distance" made me think of this Grand Prix too. So,
yeah, that's true. Yes.
Yeah. So let's get to it. So we're up to race 8 of 15, the French Grand Prix at Dijon. July 1, 80 laps, and the weather was overcast but dry. So I've been waiting very patiently to talk about this race, as it contains what I think is one of the most famous and probably my favourite battle of all time in Formula One history. So it's a great example.
Call.
It is a big call. And the only time I saw it get close was, funnily enough, a 2014 battle between Nico Rosberg and Hamilton early in the season, when they weren't hating each other. And they were swapping and changing and giving each other respect, and it was really good. So anyway, to me, it was a great example of high-quality wheel-to-wheel racing, where both drivers were at the limits of their cars and their cars' capabilities. But we'll come to this.
Look, I didn't see it at the time, but I have looked it up, and I watched it on YouTube, and you guys can do the same. There is footage of it, and Murray Walker is commentating it, and he just is so excited. He just gets so excited every time there's a move or every time there's something. And there are certainly some hair-raising moments when you expect, because the cars touch a lot, as we say, that in this season the cars cut, and you expect them to go off, but they don't. They just keep racing. So it is really exciting to watch. Yeah,
and it's like, as long as you're touching side by side.
Yeah,
Of course, in the Monaco race, we just come. They're hitting each other from behind and taking each other out. That's still the same.
No,
but side by side, they can touch.
Yeah. So, like you say, 2014's a long time from now, Louis. That, we're in 2026.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to ask, what's changed in today's racing that we don't see that kind of racing anymore?
I think the cars can't go as close to each other as they used to. And they've got all these bits.
Yes.
This little bit sticking up from the side pod, that little bit at the back of the side pod. And when they get wrecked, the car loses balance and you lose speed and competitiveness.
Yeah.
So, that's what I think is one of the reasons. What else do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. I think that the cars are too big to drive side by side, especially through corners.
Yeah.
They're very... they're like Lego. You touch them and they fall apart.
Yeah.
And any kind of scratch or dent, or back in the ground or in the whatever era that we just had, anything compromise the performance of the car. Any tiny little hole anywhere, that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
Wheel flaps came off, you're done. So I don't know that there was as much. They weren't as robust as these days. So that is a bit of a... I don't think anything's really changed in terms of drivers. I think drivers are drivers. They'll always be the ones that push hard, the ones that can do wheel to wheel, the ones that don't want to.
Yeah.
But I think it is the cars that we don't see that happening. But hopefully it'll come back.
We'll see. We'll see. We're recording this, what is it, April 26th. Right in the middle of one of the very contentious regulations. But anyway.
Well, we're in a hiatus because, 2 races have been cancelled and teams have had to go back and fix some of the niggles they've been having because of the new regs. So, we'll see what happens when it comes back. But, yes, a very exciting Grand Prix. If you had to watch a Grand Prix from this year, watch the 79, watch the French one, I think.
Yeah, especially the last 25%.
The last,
So back to 79, the Swedish Grand Prix was actually meant to take place between the last race and this race, but that was actually cancelled due to a lack of sponsorship.
It might seem a bit harsh, Louis, but the 2 Swedish drivers in Formula One that, got Sweden all excited about the sport had passed away because Ronnie Peterson, as we know, died at that Monza accident last year. And unfortunately, I think we did mention it, Gunnar Nilsson, who was meant to take up a place with, I'm going to guess McLaren, but I could be wrong.
I think so. Yeah.
He was diagnosed with cancer and he died a few weeks later from that. So for the poor Swedish people and fans, there was really no interest, and therefore sponsors pulled out and there was no Swedish GP in 79.
Yeah, and I sort of have, I'm having a little bit of a go here because I'm saying, come on, Europe or Sweden. If you're a fan of the sport, you don't need to have a person of your nationality to be good enough to reach the limits of international sports in order to follow the sport. So it just shows maybe a lack of depth in the fandom.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess what I'm saying is this is Formula One. This is not Eurovision.
But we have to remember, I mean, Sweden is a big rally car, aren't they? They're big rally car
they are.
People. So they probably had their
other drivers.
Motorsport. Didn't fit, and there's not that much money. Anyway, there we go. No Swedish Grand Prix.
No Swedish Grand Prix. So as far as the championship was concerned, as we covered at the end of the last episode, the first part of the season is finished. And you may recall we have that unusual system with the points dropping. So it's almost like a semi-reset. So Scheckter left Monaco with 30 points, enjoying a 6-point lead over Lafitte.
Yeah. So we won't go into, I've already said that, Scheckter was actually on 34. So anyway, we'll see what happens in this second part of the season. And what happens to the team? Because as you said, it was meant to even out the competition to allow teams that weren't doing as well to catch up to the championship in the second half.
Yeah.
But I think it also has the opposite effect of not being favourable to teams that do better. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, no worries. So, Rosa, there were some lineup changes to the drivers since the Monaco race 5 weeks ago.
Yes, there were. Yes. So, Keke Rosberg was brought in to replace Hunt in the Wolf team. Now, he has raced before, but I think it was just on a part-time basis.
Yeah.
So he came in to replace,
wasn't he? No, he goes to Fittipaldi later. Sorry, out of sync. Go on.
No, he wasn't. He was in another. I think he might have been in the Shadow or the Arrows, or I don't know. He did a race or so because we've talked about him before.
Yeah.
Depailler, Luigi, broke both his legs in a hang gliding accident.
Yeah.
So he was replaced with Jackie Ickx at Ligier, who was persuaded to come out of F1 retirement.
That's a big move. I mean, there's a couple of things
massive.
Here. Here's a Ligier that's like a totally front-running Formula One car. And in modern Formula One, they do not let drivers do risky sports because of the impact.
I know.
So here he is doing hang gliding. I wouldn't call that the safest sport in the world.
No.
Breaks both his legs. So that's pretty much the end of him for this year. And, I mean, Jackie Ickx would have been, front-running car. You know? So let's see if Jackie Ickx can take this opportunity.
Okay.
So French organisers decided to go back to the old practice format, mainly because of a fight still raging behind the scenes between Fokker and Fieser on the involvement of drivers in the new BMW M1 Pro Car series. So this is where it can get really detailed, but I'm going to suggest we just accept that there's some political things they've got to resolve. And we'll talk more about faux FOCA, FISA, and the FIA as those issues happen.
Yeah, I think like you said before, we've got one body which is the Formula One constructors, and that's headed up by Bernie Ecclestone and Max Mosley, and the other is like the governing body that acted as the rules and safety and all of that, and that's headed up by Jean-Marie Balestre in this era.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to hear a lot more. We won't go into the detail here.
Yeah.
It's also interesting that there's two sections of the grid are on each of the sides. So the manufacturer or big teams are with the FISA and Balestre, so Renault, Ferrari, and then the independent.
I think Alfa Romeo's there too.
Yeah,
Alfa Romeo's
and then the garagistas are with the other one with Bernie Ecclestone. So it's interesting. I can't wait to get into that. But we won't spend that time now.
Yeah.
So all the practice sessions, Renault were in a class of their own with their new twin turbo finally becoming a bit more reliable. It debuted at Monaco but did not do well there. But they're in the zone here.
Yeah, well, you'd think because Monaco wouldn't be the best track for turbo. But
no.
So practice ended with Jabouillet in the Renault on pole, with Arnoux second. So first and second at their home track with their new engine, new turbo. Villeneuve was third in the Ferrari, Piquet fourth, Scheckter fifth, and Lauda sixth.
So a couple of notable incidents during practice were that Pironi crashed his Tyrrell. He's a bit of a crasher, Pironi.
Yeah.
Although this wasn't his fault, after a rear wheel came flying off and stopped practice while the car was removed from a dangerous spot.
So is this the first time we hear this happening? Like there's that care?
I know.
You know what I mean?
I'm not sure. Maybe. I think we've heard of cars being left by the side of the road a lot.
Yeah.
So possibly, maybe Lang doesn't mention it as much because it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal for us because it matters these days.
Yeah.
The other incident is Jones had a really bad practice session when Regazzoni drove over his nose. So that's his teammate, forcing a long pit. And then when he finally got going, his engine blew up. To cap it all off, the stewards announced that his best lap was achieved under a yellow flag, so it was scrapped.
So, yeah. Okay. That happens nowadays. So I think you're starting to start seeing the same sort of things. So instead of starting on the second row behind Villeneuve, Jones found himself on the fourth row now in eighth. So, and he's been on form. Remember, he's been really battling.
So funnily enough, though, he was the fastest Ford Cosworth powered engine on the grid. We haven't seen that in a long time. Like we've seen Ford Cosworth dominate pretty much the whole from pole to the end. So, but now they're in seventh. That's the first Ford Cosworth powered car is in seventh.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like we're starting to see a changing of the guard, maybe. Even though Ligier is going against the trend a bit. So and Williams now starting to show that sign, I guess. So we have the twin turbo Renault, Ferrari, and Alfa Romeo. Just one other point. There is enormous G-forces that are being produced at this twisty track. And along with the ground effect, this actually forced some teams, including Renault, to install cockpit-mounted neck supports to help overcome the effects. So that's the first time we sort of hear of that too.
Yes, interesting. So race day was overcast but dry, and X crashed during the warm-up lap. Not so much of a last hurrah there, and was forced to jump into the spare. So he was able to take his place on the grid and start normally.
So lucky him, but not exactly in the right car for him. So race start actually saw Villeneuve take off like a jackrabbit, and he flew past both Renaults to lead into the first corner.
Jabouillet fell in behind the Ferrari to take second place ahead of Scheckter, but Arnoux had already he'd nearly stalled his engine at the start and was down in ninth behind Piquet, Jarier, who started 10th, Lauda, Lafitte and Jones.
So the first part of the race was characterised by the hard driving of Villeneuve, who pulled away from Jabouillet at almost 1 second a lap, and Arnoux fighting back after his poor start.
By the third lap, Arnoux had passed Jones and Lafitte. On the fourth lap, he went past Lauda, Jarier on the seventh lap, and Piquet on the 11th. All right, so he's pretty much carving a swathe through the field in that Renault.
Yeah, to make up for his sort of lackluster start, I guess. So now he's in fourth place behind Villeneuve, who's leading, Jabouillet second, and Scheckter third. So he's not far away from the leaders now, even though Villeneuve is really setting a pace up front.
Another big mover was Jones, now in sixth place, chasing Piquet.
So, yeah, the scene's being set because on lap 14, Scheckter started experiencing understeer problems, allowing Arnoux to pass him for third.
Even more of a concern was that Villeneuve's lead of 6 seconds was also disappearing, as his Ferrari was also not handling well.
So on lap 24, the French crowd became super excited as they saw Jabouillet catch up to Villeneuve, whose tyres were simply losing grip.
Was it Jabouillet who caught up to Villeneuve or Arnoux? I think it was Arnoux.
That was Jabouillet. It was
Jabouillet.
Yeah.
All right. So this battle went to lap 46.
So
that's a lot.
That's Jabouillet and Villeneuve. Yeah.
Jabouillet and Villeneuve. Okay, I'm getting confused.
Yeah.
That's a lot of battling laps. That's 22 laps where they just battled. So with Villeneuve driving to the limit to pull away from Jabouillet as they overtook back markers, and Jabouillet catching up to him within a couple of seconds of the Ferrari. So it was just cat and mouse through that whole time.
So Jabouillet realised he was driving a car that was quicker than the Ferrari and really renewed his attentions on getting past Villeneuve. And when Villeneuve was balked while trying to lap D'Angelis' shadow, Jabouillet took his opportunity and overtook the slowing Ferrari. So a very opportunistic move by the Frenchman.
Within 3 laps, he had opened up a 2-second lead over Villeneuve, who was in a comfortable second ahead of Piquet and Jones.
Yeah, so we've got a new race leader now. So Scheckter had slipped to 6th in the meantime. He was struggling to stay on the same lap as the leaders.
Poor Scheckter. On lap 53 of 80, and I think we just mentioned that because he's the championship leader at the moment.
He
on
is,
lap 53 of 80, Ix's debut for Ligier ended with a blown engine. Piquet crashed out of 4th place with an oversteering Brabham. Fittipaldi's engine also blew, and Andretti retired his car with poor handling and bad brakes.
So Scheckter pitted on lap 55 for new tyres, probably because he was just slipping back what he had to lose, and he rejoined in 7th behind Jarier and Regazzoni.
Okay, but what was really hotting up was Arnoux catching up to Villeneuve. Meanwhile, Villeneuve was slowing to preserve his tyres. So spurred on by pit signals, Arnoux was going faster and faster, and by lap 71 had wiped out the 15-second deficit and was right on Villeneuve's tail.
Yeah, so remember, Arnoux been carving through the field.
Yes,
and
yes.
he's in a very strong car. So what followed over the next 8 laps was a cat and mouse chase between the two cars, each taking turns to get past each other under braking, tyres smoking, and cars literally sliding out of corners.
Most often than not, they were side by side. As they started the final lap, they stayed that way, all the way through the right-hander and throughout the rest of the lap. They were banging wheels, first one driver taking the advantage and then the other one.
They literally looked like they were on the brink of disaster the whole time. They kept so close to each other and even taking to the grass. But both cars kept going, and only as they entered the last right-hander was the battle resolved when Arnoux, holding the lead of Villeneuve, ran wide enough for Villeneuve to dive through on the inside and gain just enough leeway to hold on until the finish line. And again, they were almost side by side there too.
I'm now forgetting, Luigi, that Jabouillet actually won the race.
Yeah.
By nearly 15 seconds.
Yeah.
His first win and the first for a turbocharged car and the first for Renault. That's huge. That's a huge turning point in F1.
Yeah, huge. And to this day, I mean, we just described the battle, but you've got to watch it on YouTube, the battle between Arnoux and Villeneuve. it's considered one of the greatest racing duels of all time, not just in my opinion, but a lot of Formula One historians tend to agree. And the nice thing is both drivers had a great deal of respect for one another. And one of them is no longer with us, but when they are interviewed about this, they talk about this. They look back on this with a great deal of fondness because that's nice. There's no resentment or they beat me. It's a really nice. It's a really nice story to Formula One.
It reminds me of the Fangio days. This type of racing.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jones came in 4th, Jarier 5th, and Regazzoni 6th.
Okay.
So, to the championship standings, Scheckter is still on 30 points in first. Gilles Villeneuve now is on 26 points, and Lafitte is on 24, Depailler and Reutemann on 20. Scheckter should have been on 34, as we said before. He didn't change that. In the Constructors' Championship, we've got Ferrari on 60, Ligier second on 46, and Lotus third on 37.
Okay. And let's just give Jabouet another little mention. Most people forget that he won this race because it was so overshadowed by that battle for second. But let's just remember that. It's a big win by Renault. Yeah.
Yes.
So up to race 9 now of 15, which is the British Grand Prix at Brands Hatch, July 14, 68 laps, and the weather was warm and sunny. So we're back to the revised practice format for this race. So the first 2 sessions were untimed.
By the time qualifying sessions started, Jones was flying in the Williams and the Ferrari's ground effect efficiencies were being highlighted.
Yeah, Jones's Williams was fastest in every session and he eventually set pole with a time of 1 minute 11.8, way ahead of Jabouet in the Renault in second, Brabham, Piquet in the Brabham third, Regazzoni fourth in the other Williams. So I thought Renault would have done well at this track because it's one of those speed. It's not Silverstone. I know it's Brands Hatch, but still.
It's Brands Hatch, yeah.
Yeah.
Still, the Ferraris were more than 2 seconds slower than Jones. That's so much.
I know.
So they lined up. Is it the Williams getting faster or is it the Ferraris getting slower? I don't know. I think it's the Williams getting faster.
No, it's not because Wild Ferrari would be 11th and 13th. They have to be going slower as well.
They're 11th and 13th. Scheckter's in 11th.
Yeah.
They're really slipping back now.
Yeah. So the 30-minute warm-up session before the race found Jabouet's gearbox playing up, so that had to be changed just before the race. A lot of pressure there.
Well, it was finished just in time for the warm-up lap.
Yeah, I hope they didn't make any errors in that rush, I guess. But even though Jones dominated every practice session, he decided to line up on pole in the spare Williams fitted with a brand new Cosworth development engine that had been delivered overnight direct from the factory.
No parc fermo rules, Luigi.
Yeah.
Today, both cars would have had to start from the pits.
It is a high-risk strategy for Jones, isn't it? It's
Well, first they would allow that. Like, don't you have to start the race in which you set the time and all of that bizzo now?
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, you can't change the whole car.
You can't change the setup. You can't do that. Like, you just can't put a new engine in. You would have had to start from the pits if you had done that. We've seen that.
It's a lot of flexibility they had in these days, and I don't think this was not a contentious thing. By the way, this was normal.
No,
it
wasn't.
Time.
It was the rules. The rules have changed to the point where there's no flexibility on race day.
Yeah,
I don't like. I like this. I like the fact that they can decide to put in a new engine. And take the risk. I like it. I don't like the strictness of today.
The rigidity of it all.
No, but it is a high risk strategy for Jones. I don't understand. He dominated every session and he was in pole. Why would he go for a development engine?
Yeah, who did he believe that development engine was going to give him more of an edge that he already had?
Already had. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so to the race start, the front runners got away well, but it was Regazzoni in the lead at the first right-hander, having got off with a screamer from the second row.
That's impressive. Jones and Jabouet slotted into second and third, but half a lap later, coming off the hanger straight, Jones dived through the inside of his teammate under braking for Stowe, just as Jabouillet was making a similar move on the outside, right?
Again, so we see all three cars side by side, but there was no incident apart from if you're Regazzoni, because now you're third.
Yeah, well, I mean, was Jones a team leader? I guess Regazzoni was the safe older pair of hands, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Jones was leading then. Jabouillet was second. And that move from Jones is, like we said earlier, very characteristic of him.
Yes. So bunched up behind the three lead cars of Jones, Jabouillet and Regazzoni were Piquet and Lauda in the Brabhams, Andretti, Lotus, Arnoux in the Renault, Lafitte in the Ligier, well down, Villeneuve in the Ferrari, also well down, Reutemann, Lotus and Scheckter in the other Ferrari.
It's funny to see the championship contenders sitting in the back section there.
I know.
You know?
I know.
So a couple of observations from me. Why are Ferrari doing so bad in this race?
I know.
Yeah.
That they have fallen away big time. I don't know. It doesn't really say anything. I didn't really read anything about anything going wrong or they have to further develop their car. They're just off the pace.
Yeah. And yeah, the only other thing I was going to mention is good to see Lauda up there, but he's having a lot of retirements this year. And
yes,
the two Lotuses, they had that good start when it looked like it wasn't so bad, but it's they're not really having a great time anymore. They're sort of floundering, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the Lotuses, Andretti now tries to get past Lauda on the inside at Abbey's curve, only to be blatantly blocked, Lang's words, not mine, and he had to stomp on the brakes, causing him to lose a place to Arnoux, who was close behind.
I'd say that's one of the worst ways of losing a position, isn't it? You know?
Yes. Yeah.
So Andretti's race ended on the next lap, though, in the pits due to a wheel bearing coming loose. So we're getting close to the end of the Colin Chapman era, I'm sorry to say, because they still get some success in the 80s with Senna, but it's a different Lotus team by then.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting reading about that. And it does all come down to Colin Chapman, doesn't it? It does come down to him and his influence. So, and I'm glad that we've also been able to mention Senna in this episode.
Yeah, there you go. One mention for Senna, about 4 for Prost.
Yeah, that's right. Piquet spun out of 4th place, allowing the lead 3 to open up an even bigger gap to the rest of the field.
So the battles behind them were still raging as Villeneuve and Arnoux forced their way past Lauda and Scheckter, and Scheckter was trying to do the same.
Meanwhile, up front, Jabouillet has started to realise that after only 6 laps that he had chosen too soft a tyre for the race, as his front left was already starting to blister.
And this forced him to ease off, which allowed Jones to power away into the lead and pull away at over a second a lap. So he's really got pace in hand.
Yeah. Lauda lost 2 more places to Scheckter and Lafitte and then disappeared into the pits on lap 12, where he retired with boiling brake fluid. I'm sad we don't hear about all these amazing mechanical issues anymore, Luigi. We've had boiling brakes and like weird things, just weird things. I like it.
Yeah, at least it's different most of the time, although I've heard boiling brake fluid twice now this season.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
So sad for Lauda, though. A few twists looming in his racing career in the next little while, but we'll cover that later, I guess. But he's not having a great year with that car.
No. Back in the lead, Jones was enjoying an advantage of over 10 seconds from Jabouillet, who was slipping into Regazzoni's clutches due to the state of his tyres.
And on lap 17, Jabouillet, obviously frustrated, headed into the pits for new tyres, and things went from bad to worse for him there. First, he had to go back to the pits 2 laps later for a new nose cone when a wayward airline ripped off his original one when he was rejoining the race from his first tyre stop. I don't know why they didn't fix it at the same time. Maybe there was a lagged effect. I'm not sure. Then, while leaving his engine running for the nose cone change, one of his turbos overheated, which put him out of the race.
That is a brutal domino effect from something that wasn't even his fault.
I know. And he was in third. You know, he was up there.
I know.
Or second, about to become third. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Balestra must be going wild right now, combing through the rule book to salvage the situation. I mean, it's a French driver and a French team, Louis. Come on.
Balestra should be happy that the French driver and the French team won the French Grand Prix. So
that's right.
Yeah. So at half distance, the Williams situation couldn't have been any better. Jones was in complete command and Regazzoni was running a strong second.
Arnoux was in third in the other Renault, and the Ferraris of Scheckter was in third and Villeneuve in fourth.
Not bad.
Oh, they've
way
salvaged
down.
something.
Yeah. So there were a few retirements, by the way. But anyway, 2 laps later, the Ligier of Lafitte overtook both Ferraris and started to pull away immediately, highlighting just how bad that Ferrari was performing at this track. Or maybe just to say how well the Ligier was handling the conditions.
Yeah, I think that might be a better way to say it.
Yeah.
The midfield was crazy with retirements and overtakes galore amongst Rosberg, Reutemann, Jarier and Peroni, but more dramatically on lap 39, Jones suddenly slowed dramatically, Luigi, and went coasting into the pits, trailing plumes of white smoke.
He's had a very unlucky year this year. Don't forget, Renault Williams only had their first win, their first race lead this year.
Year, exactly.
They haven't won a race yet. So Jones's engine had blown up apparently because of a leak in the water pump. He was bitterly disappointed, of course, but remember he did switch to that development engine the night before the race, and maybe that risk didn't pay off for him.
No, I'm going to say no. Like a leak in the water pump. That's pretty basic, isn't it?
Yeah. So not the engine, not Jones's fault then.
No.
Let's see.
I don't know. Is the water pump part of the engine? Who knows? I don't know. We need to talk to our engine friend, David.
Yeah.
Williams still had Regazzoni in the race, so he was now leading, well ahead of Arnoux and Lafitte. So there was some consolation for Williams.
Yeah, and 3 laps later, Lafitte started having engine issues. And he retired 2 laps after that with a faulty plug and a damaged valve. So he's had a lot of retirements. Okay, we know he blew his engine with his own fault, but he's also had a lot of bad luck this year too.
Rosberg then also retired with his wolf suffering fuel feed problems, which just left 4 cars on the same lap. The order now, Regazzoni, Arnoux, Scheckter, Villeneuve and Jarier.
British driver and crowd favourite Watson in the McLaren, who started from 7th and languished in the midfield for most of the race, was now in 5th after Villeneuve shot into the pits with his fuel system playing up.
Villeneuve, he can't possibly retire from this race again, Louis.
Yeah.
Villeneuve rejoined the race, but eventually retired 5 laps from the end.
Yeah.
5 laps behind the winner in 14th place.
Yeah.
And to make matters worse for Ferrari, Scheckter was having similar problems and lost 3rd place to Jarier.
Then, on the last lap, to the delight of the crowd, Watson caught up to Scheckter at Stowe Corner and made a run up on the inside of the Ferrari, going past under braking to claim 4th place. And let's not forget here, this is Scheckter's championship leader. And he lost a place right towards the end. That's not what you want to do if you want to win a championship.
No. And Watson's in a nothing car.
Yeah.
Come on.
The McLaren's not even in the top 5 in the championship. So,
nothing. Exactly. Regazzoni eventually took the checkered flag 24 seconds ahead of Arnoux, giving Williams their first Formula One victory.
Yeah. And it was Regazzoni's. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it should have been Jones.
Oh, yeah. Everyone thinks it should have been Jones. Even Regazzoni probably thinks it should have been Jones. So it was actually Regazzoni's 5th and final win. And as of 2026 April, I don't think there's any Swiss driver on the grid, was the last win for a Swiss driver. So
wow.
So 1979 was the last time. As after Jarier, Watson and Scheckter came Jackie X, taking the final point in the second Ligier.
That's interesting, Louis, because at the Japanese Grand Prix, which if you're listening to this podcast in order, you'd know that we were there were those people like draped in Swiss flags. Do you remember?
Yeah. Was that for Sauber? Audi?
Maybe Audi, but I don't know. Are they Swiss?
Well, the former Sauber team was based in Switzerland. I think Audi just inherited that as the home.
But why would you be draped? Like they were like people length.
Yeah, I know.
Flags. They were huge.
I don't think they were celebrating Regazzoni, but
yeah, because we were there. Who was the last Swiss driver? I reckon it was Regazzoni.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, yeah, well, good on Ixo also for taking that final point for Ligier.
Yeah.
So this was the first Grand Prix on which James Hunt commentated alongside Murray Walker. So that's exciting. It didn't take him long to transition.
Didn't give him a break. He didn't give himself a holiday either.
No, he didn't.
Straight into it. So yeah, but yeah, lots of people call this should have been Jones's first win with Williams.
I know,
but
Williams
and Regazzoni got the credit. It's a bit like most people don't realize Gonzalez got Ferrari's first ever Formula One win, but they expected it to be one of the other drivers. But Gonzalez got it, so that's life.
Yeah, that's life. Yep. So, to the standings, we've got Jody Scheckter on 32, brackets 36, Villeneuve 26, Lafitte 24, and then Depailler and Reutemann on 20. And on the constructors' side, we've got Ferrari on 62, Ligier on 47, Lotus on 37.
Okay.
All right. Well, we might leave it there and come back for, what are we up to? Part 6.
Part 6, and the German Grand Prix is next, everyone.
Okay. See you then.
Bye.